Hello, welcome back to another video. I'm sorry if you're wondering what is going on. I got one of the, what are you? Oh, I forget the name of the brand. Hugables or something. They're weighted teddy bears. I don't forget what it's called. This is Delilah, the dinosaur. But I have been sleeping very funny, and I'm keep getting a crick in my neck. So I'm using the weightedness to try help it. I don't know. Anyway, I thought in this video I would do something different and stay away from animal topics, which is my go-to, I think, in YouTube videos. Obviously, I'll keep you updated regarding when we get mice back into the shop. I'm still going to leave them in work for the week to quarantine until I bring them home. I'm thinking once I kind of know which ones I'm thinking of bringing home, if there's space, I think I'll separate them from the rest. So I'm gonna put a little notice on it saying they're on hold, but can't wait for that, basically. But between that time, what's kind of going on? Working away is normal. I had 1 week there where I was doing 4 days, but they needed me that like extra day. But since then, I'm doing 3 days. In between that, I'm trying to get back into old habits of mine that I used to love, which were reading, coloring. I want to get back into writing short stories. I haven't got there yet, but the coloring and reading is something I'm starting off first anyway. Just try get a good habit going there, because I do miss them. I just never been able with my headspace and everything. I just was not able. So kind of getting back into those things. And social life is still going steadily smooth. It was at one point like zero. There was none, but there's a bit happening. I just know a few days where I'm off. They just so happened with life that plans happen. So this week particular, especially today, I'm feeling it. I'd say I'm in burnout right now, I'd say. Kind of going through counseling and stuff, which I had this week. He just kind of wants me to notice the early signs of burnout and things, which I'm struggling with. Anyone has any tips, please feel free to leave them down below on your personal experience on feeling early symptoms before burnout. Mine, it's too late. Mine would always be the nagging migraine headache thing that just consumes your head. And that is technically too late. So, I know a few days this week I've been sleeping during the day. I've been having like a 2-hour nap, which I hadn't been for a while. Like I've been off a few days from work, but I know it was having to go to town for certain things. Us having kind of a situation with fuel in the country lately in Ireland. So one of those days I panically went into town to try to get myself some petrol. We were thinking it was going to be like gone. But that's us Irish people, we panic. So that all didn't really help. And then yeah, that's kind of it. Did meet up with someone on Friday, which was yesterday. No, yesterday. Yeah, it is. Don't know what the days are. Not going to go into too much detail on that, but let's just say meeting this certain person brings me joy. But we went to see the new Mario movie, so Mario Galaxy, whatever. I don't even think I've seen the first one. That's so bad. It was good. I did hear kind of mixed opinions on it. I probably would know deeply how I felt if I watched the first, but it was good. Obviously it is kind of more for kids, so the room was quite full of children, but like it was all right. That's kind of been it really in terms of that. But yeah, my mainly want to talk about a bit about discovering more about autism with myself. Um, Basically knowing my limits, which there's times I don't realize until too late. Sorry if I come across a bit gassy. You know it's bad when you're on your second one of this today. The little cheap energy drinks. It's sugar free if that makes it any better. But yeah. Um yeah, I'm okay. I've been in situations in the past where I was a lot worse, and that was not knowing I was autistic on top of not realizing I was on weeks and months of burnout. Like now I'm only maybe 2 days max of burnout I'll hit, and that'll be it. And it's once in a blue moon. So it's definitely improving. I just want to be able to read my body and be able to know the signal. Like, don't even get me started on reading my body to figure out if I'm hungry. I can't do it. Trying to read my body into signal when trying to drink water. That could be a major problem of mine right now, that I'm not drinking enough, but I just don't remember to. Um, yeah, different social places, bumped into a few people that that I know. Um, and there is still the element of masking that has to be done. So trying to figure out kind of how to communicate when I go into those kind of situations. Even thinking about it right now, it's taking the energy out of me. But yeah, it's some of them I know. Like, I think, yeah, it's a dream when being autistic that you just want to be you everywhere you go. But there's always going to be the element of that not always working out, especially like the main one being if you just do not feel safe. And it's sad that the world is so unpredictable, and as someone who's autistic, that is the main fear every day, that like you don't know what's out there. Um like, yeah, there's elements of my days off that I get in the car to go for a spin. It's kind of, sometimes I like that bit of alone some, usually it's with my dog beside me, but you don't realize that, but you still have to read other people and other cars. You still have to read other drivers, you still have to read other situations on the road that become unpredictable as well. And when you're behind the wheel, it's a lot more serious than just trying to socially navigate a situation. But trying to navigate something when you're behind the wheel of a car that can go south very quickly. So times when, yeah, I love driving, it kind of gives me that bit of freedom sometimes when I do need it. But other times I'm like, is it worth getting in the car right now though? I mean, number one being we're in a fuel crisis, but number two mainly being, you're still going to be drained more or less when you get home, because you're in your car on your own, blasting music, grand, but you still have to try react in enough time when there's other drivers that are being dangerous, or there's stuff happening on the road that you have to act quick for. So like there's never really a break. Um and like I'm kind of in a space now that I do want to get out that a little bit more than in the past, where I'd be seen as like, anyone else looking in at me, they would see me as lazy, but it wasn't. It was just I was burnout and I had no motivation. Now I kind of want to do a bit more, but I'm realizing maybe, like, who cares if people look at me as being lazy, like, just if I have to go to bed, I have to go to bed, or have to do something that will help. And the main one as well being that I've reduced the number of pets I own, which has made a huge difference. I know I've took on a mouse, and there has to be friends along the way soon because she needs them. But, a few mice, especially when their care is not the same, but similar to hamsters. I just had at one point different species of animals that their care was vastly different. Um, like at one point, I had, I believe I had my cat still at the time, and then I had miniature ponies, rabbits, and guinea pigs. They are all so different. Um, Now I just have the cat that I just have to go outside for to her little room and sort her out for the night. Whereas when I had the horses and when I had the rabbits and all that had been living in the stable, I had to go through all weather conditions every year. And looking back as well, realizing I even struggle now and then debating should I go for a shower, just because the whole transition of getting out of the clothes I'm in to then jump into the shower is so it's a lot. The change of temperature when you do that kind of switch is a lot. And I've heard many autistic people and individuals talking about that struggle of switching and then getting in the shower and you're in there and you're fine and my water has to be boiling and it's lovely, and then you're like, I now have to get back out. So that's like that with the animals when I had to go out in the rain, um, having to decide, well, look, you cannot go out in your everyday pairs of runners. You're going to have to put on wellies, going out to the horses and going out to the small animals because you have to go through rain to get to the shed. And once you're in the shed, especially with the horses, you may have to go back out into the yard in case one of them is out there that you have to bring in, or many cases they got their rug off and the rug was just hanging around in the yard, sopping wet. You have to pick up and bring in. So there was so much sensory overload going on of deciding what clothes to wear that was the most comfortable. Um, yeah, it's a lot looking back. Now I just have my cat and my rest of my animals are in my room, the hamster and the mouse, one above the other. And it's easier. Why does she look like she's done with life? Oh my god. I don't think it makes it look any better. No, it doesn't look any better. But anyway, who cares? So yeah, all that is a lot to kind of take on. And especially for a while when you're mainly known in your family, not as such your like family here you live with, like your cousins and all, when they kind of know you as the animal person, and then finding out that you've rehomed most of them. It's that kind of shocked expression that, not that it's embarrassing to explain why they're gone, but it still is like, oh, I have to explain myself why I've done this. And half the time it's like you don't need to justify yourself why you've done something, but it's that feel you need to so you don't get judged. It gets quite lonely, like lonesome up in the head sometimes. It just, the head takes over with many things. Um Even now and then, like I've the vet's coming up next week for my cat for a vaccination, and obviously in another few weeks I'll be getting the mice and things like that, and my brain is just like I've written it down in my phone, but my brain is constantly going, right, you have this coming up, you have this coming up, think of this now coming up, you have this. The brain is always thinking of the next things, and there was a time where that's all I could think of. It was so obsessed. Now it's not as bad, but when it does, and especially today that has been doing it, I'm like, my head is not ready for that today because I'm basically in burnout. I'm not able. It hurts my head to be doing that. So, there's a lot. And like I'm learning so much about myself. I obviously do accept who I am. Like I've heard many people say, I don't want a cure for autism. It's who I am. I'm happy with. Um, it's just bad days can be a lot, but we all have bad days. And bad days for many people are obviously very different. So, it's complaining about what's going on with me. To some people, they might be like, okay, well, just don't overthink or don't do this. And it's like, that's why half the time I don't explain a lot of it to certain people, because that's what you get back. Or you're seen as the hypochondriac, when it's like, no, you don't know. You don't know what it's like. Um, and like, I do have an unhealthy habit, never mind the energy drinks, of another unhealthy habit, and I don't even think I can even reveal it, because I'd say that's censored in YouTube, I'd say. But it's not drinking, because I'm not really a drinker, so it's the other thing, another addictive substance that is quite common in young people, let's just say. And for a while it was the one that goes to the mouth and you know, pull away and whatever. Um, or I guess I could just say the word vaping, I guess. Of whether that's going to be a problem, I don't know. But it was that, and I've now gone to something different, which is getting rid of that habit of that oral stim of the vape. It's something different. So it is harder, and I am just taking them once my head is in that space, like when it's really, really bad. But I want to be able to learn the signs so that I don't need to ever take them. But that's the thing, and it's very common in people as well with autism, that they try to self-medicate themselves, which is fair, like, you know. And as someone who's been doing it, like, it's hard when people outside judge you for it, but it's just like, you don't know until you're in that head of someone with autism. You don't know what it's like, and once you get that sense of relief so quickly, you can see why you go back for it. And for a couple of years it was junk food, and it's only recently now I've been having a really, really good gut, taking probiotics and stuff. It's been really, really working. Now today hasn't been too good for me, and it's been a while since my gut has been bad. Today was not a good day for me. And I know about 2 days ago I had a lovely ripped ice cream on a cone and a chocolate flake. That probably sent me over the edge, I'd say. But like, all gotta live a little here and there. But yeah, I think that's kind of the gist of it. Like I said, anyone have any tips on finding out the early signs of hitting burnout, please let me know down below. I would greatly appreciate it. In terms of reading, I am loving the Kindle. I designed the back myself. Didn't even stick them on. I just threw the case on really quick and it all stayed in place, so I cannot go near it anymore. I do love messing with this pop socket. So nice. But yeah, I've been one for physical books because I love the smell of them and the feel of them, but I still have them there and I haven't really gone near them. So I said, look, if I'm enjoying the Kindle, that's my early step into really getting back into reading. So it's fine, and I do love it. So as you can see, I think it's probably backwards, I'm not sure on the screen, but it's Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devon Price. It's about 7 or 8 hour long book. That's what it estimates on the Kindle. And I have 4 hours and 33 minutes left. So I'm 52% into the book. Very, very good. Highly recommend anyone. If you have a Kindle, even better. I did have to pay for it, but like, I think it was like €6 or something, I can't remember. The fact that the Kindle estimates it to be around 8 hours long, I'd say the book itself is huge, like humongous, but very good. It breaks down into different chapters. There's different, obviously I can't do it in the Kindle, but if you have the physical books, there's like charts on it that you can actually fill in yourself, talking about maybe your struggles you have with autism. And then there's also another one that's like what good things came out of being autistic. So it's very good. It talks about the main one in terms of like, if you're in a scary situation, usually you go into fight or flight. The main one for autistic individuals is called fawning, where you mimic everyone around you and try fit in, try blend in with what's going on. So you don't need to fight or run away. You're just, you're so scared, you just kind of mimic everyone around you and you're kind of blend in. So a lot of it really, really hit home for me. It was very good. It does mention substance addictions, exercise addictions, a load of things that talks about a load of people on their personal experience. So she went around and asked different people what, your personal experience of being autistic, and if you're late being diagnosed, or what's kind of the story. And they're after submitting in, most, I don't think any of them really are anonymous. It does say who they are in it, but it talks to the like it they talk about their personal experience of being autistic, and a few of them relate to me and others then don't. But just even reading it is like, oh my god, like that's actually sad. And it's like, wow, that's what I've been through. And there's so many times I'm like, look, I'm not going around traveling the world and getting different degrees in college. What I have done is I've conquered, you know, the demons, if you like to call it, that I suffered with for so long. I've conquered them and found out more about me that I didn't know about, and find out the real me. And that's just as rewarding as physical accomplishments that people can actually see. Like, just because someone didn't physically go out and get a degree in college, that doesn't mean internally they've done their own accomplishment that you probably would never have dreamed of doing yourself. So, it's mad. It's lovely. I'm not reading it in one go. I'm not kind of at that stage of the book. It's been a while since I would sit down and get lost in a book. Um, but it's nice to pull out and give a bit of reading. Be kind of doing that mainly where I've kind of been burnt out. I'd be sitting down in the sitting room and I'd read a bit and then I'd fall asleep, and then I get back up and read a bit more again. So really good. So Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devon Price. So highly, highly recommend it. Yeah, like I said, doing a bit of colouring. I fucking broke my cat's last food bowl and I loved it to bits. And we got like a few let back into our shop that I think there are being discontinued. So I got one, but the box is really cool. It's a tilted bowl on like a stand, and like the base of like the stand itself is all like confetti graffiti graffiti, yes, all designs around it. But I ripped off a piece of the box because it also had that. So I'm just coloring it in. It's actually quite fun. I love it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I have a bunch of other colouring books because I've gone through a year of just obsessing over TikTok colouring books, and I'd say I wouldn't be surprised now if I actually nearly have every single one of them at this point, and I don't have half of them filled in. But yeah, that's the joys of being obsessed about something when it happens and you just get everything at once, and then you just sit there idle for ages. But yeah, I think that is everything. But yeah, like I said, please feel free, if you even want to keep yourself anonymous, I don't care. Feel free to leave any personal experiences of being autistic, especially any subtle signs that you have picked up on before you hit burnout. I mightn't relate to them, I mightn't get them the way you get them, but anything to open my mind to be like, right, even just this simple thing of happening that I don't even notice could be the sign of burnout. So feel free to leave anything down below. It would be greatly appreciated. It probably will mention in this somewhere, but like I said, I have like 4.5 hours left in it, so I don't know if I'll get to the actual point of that. It'll be a while before I probably get into the good, like all those bits there. So yeah, feel free if you'd like, and I'll see you in my next video. What's that going to be now? I don't know. I need to go back and think a bit more. But yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.